Go on then.
Progress under Unai Emery? A pleasing season?
In regards to a pleasing season, we'll see in May, but I've definitely been impressed with him. We've had some good periods, we've had some tough periods. I actually feel we've come into form at the best point in time, with obviously Spurs dropping points, United are flip-flopping, and Chelsea the same. So yeah, we've hit form at the right time. Can we keep it up? You'd like to think so. We haven't got to play any of the top six again. There's around 24 points on the line. But it's the away games. On paper, these games look favourable, but it's what typically Arsenal should do and what actually does happen are two different things. So it's in the players' hands.
Do you feel you're further along, further closer to where you'd want to be already under Unai Emery than what you were seeing back end under Arsene Wenger?
I could say yes. We've got the most. I can't remember all the stats, but we've bettered our points away from home. Not that was hard to do. We've bettered in certain aspects. I would like to see him with his own players, his players he could bring in, sort of see how he could get us defending and implementing everything he wants. I think we're moving along in the right direction, but I feel Arsenal fans and fans in general, we've got to look at it with balance, because I do feel Arsenal fans that right now, we're talking the extremes. You're either not happy with Unai Emery or you think everything's good. I feel there's a balance. I go back to the 22 unbeaten run. I was happy with that, and you get the rub of the green when you're playing well. But there was many games to a degree where we kind of rid our luck at times, and I did feel people, again, were just going with the 22 unbeaten thing and just silencing everything out. So I do think it's a C. We're still somewhat in wait or see mode. If I was to mark him out of 10, I'd give him a 7 because of our approach in recent weeks. We were very unlucky against Spurs. Obviously, Aubameyang should have scored his penalty. Great result against United, and we've hit form at the right time. But it's just we'll wait and see until May. To be fair,
I'll take a 7.
You mentioned that it's not his team, it's not his players. I've been quite impressed with Emery actually for a first season, but there is an issue there that if reports are to be believed, he's not going to get loads of money. It's going to be similar to Tottenham and similar to other clubs, but there's a lot of clubs battling Tottenham and Arsenal in the top 6 that will be able to spend millions in the summer. So is that a bit of a concern going forward? If you think he's the right manager, but the money's not there and he doesn't get the money in the summer, is that going to be frustrating for him?
Well, for me personally, obviously it would be frustrating. I actually think his scenario is quite like Pochettino's. It's obviously different because of the club. Isn't it? Pochettino's obviously taken Spurs to a level. You've challenged for league titles. The players know you need additions. The fans definitely know it. So it has to come from above. I feel Arsenal fans can't expect fireworks. We're running around Europe penny pinching. We're trying to get players on loan. The best we can hope for immediately is to get back into the top 4. And actually, there was a time Arsenal were laughed at of coming fourth. We need to get back to that. You're somewhat relying on a miracle from Arsenal, to be fair, like similar to Leicester's season, because you can't really see it happening.
CJ, top value tonight before we finish.
People, deluded, I'm back again. I know it's the international break. How much really can you switch off from the Premier League, or you're thinking of the Premier League? But it's the international break. It's over now. We're back to Premier League action. I know it's Fulham and City at the weekend. We have to wait, Arsenal fans, until Monday to kick off against, apologies for that, against Fulham, Newcastle. But yeah, man, would it be a good season if Arsenal turn around and don't get top 4? I say this because if you remember at the start of the season, unlike a lot of people, I actually consider everything. I didn't expect us to get top 4 purely because how could you? For the last 2 seasons, we've been woeful. We have got some players who I did feel if they could play to a certain standard or to a better standard, we could do something. But yeah, I just didn't think top 4 could happen. I just didn't think it was good enough. I felt obviously that's the objective and that's the target, but it would have been a big ask for Unai Emery to get some of these players who just simply aren't good enough to play to a certain consistent level for that, and all of these sort of things. So I wasn't going to judge him on top 4. Obviously, that's ultimately what he needs to do. But for me, not even just Unai Emery, I'm just giving you an example. I'm just talking about Arsenal as a whole, as a football club. I was saying, obviously, I would love top 4, but for me, the big thing would be for if Unai Emery away from the top 4 is if we finish outside of it, but we're improving in certain aspects, which we have, we're shaping up in a certain sort of way, we still got a long way to go, but we're correcting certain wrongs, we're doing certain things differently, we're moving in the right direction. I guess just encouraging or positive signs, then while I would be disappointed we didn't get top 4, and obviously there would be several ways and things we could say as to why we didn't or where we can improve, and it wouldn't be a perfect season, but would it have been the worst if we was to finish 5th? But we've improved our away form, we've improved defensively, we've improved our clean sheets. A lot of these things have to be worked on. Players are playing better with confidence and stuff, but we missed out. Then that would be cool for me, because I wasn't screaming we was going to. But when you find where we are in the league now, like we've messed around and found ourselves in these, or what's the word? You fuck around and find yourself in a great position. Apologies, my language. But we found ourselves in a great position in terms of the top 4. So if we was to turn around people, and considering that, let me bring up the table. We're what, third? We're fourth. I say third because I want to come for them Spurs boys. What is it? Liverpool? Is it Liverpool and who are play? We'll check the fixtures, but there's a top 6 game this weekend. You look at it, Liverpool and City, they're doing their thing. Liverpool are two points clear. It's important to remember that the other 5 of the top 6, excluding Liverpool, all have a game in hand. Obviously, it's Liverpool and City for the title. Come on, City, do your thing, man. I can't take my Liverpool brethren if you lot win that. But look at it. Spurs on 61 points. We're on 60 points. United are on 58. Where's Chelsea? Bring it lower. Yeah, what's it? You've got Chelsea on 57. Chelsea messed up their games in hand, but what? There's 3 points that separate 4th and 6th. Yeah, Spurs in thingy. Spurs are obviously on 61 points, so there's not that much in it. There's around 4 or so points. My maths isn't the best, but there's around 4 or so points separating people. So obviously, every team if you don't win the league, if you're not hopefully City, or if you Liverpool win it, if you're not the team that won the league, there's obviously things you could have done better in the season. If you look at your season, there's points you dropped or things you could have done better. Regardless of even Liverpool winning the league, there's ways they could improve and things, I'm sure, with Klopp. But considering the position we found ourselves in, hitting form at the right time, obviously taking 4 points off Spurs and United collectively, it should have been 6. Obviously, we know what happened against Spurs. With all of this, hitting form in the right way, 24 points still to play for. And again, I don't think these games are as easy as people are making out, but on paper, definitely out of the top 6, we've got the most favourable run of fixtures and stuff. Obviously, with Arsenal, we know with the away form and certain things, and what should and what actually does happen are 2 different things. But considering all of this, if we then don't go and get top 4, is that a bad season, people? Is it? Because, again, I've seen positives. For instance, what I like about Unai Emery is that I would like to see him with his... I still think he's got to improve some of these players because we can't get around coaching. He stepped into this job knowing that some of these existing players would have to be improved purely because we're not going to rip it all up a blank 11 and you're going to do your thing. You knew the role you're stepping into. But he is improving players. Young players are playing with confidence. He's improving players. Again, the only player he can't improve is Mustafi, in my opinion. Everybody else looks all right. We haven't been perfect. We've had moments, and Unai Emery hasn't been perfect. But for the scheme of it, improving players, away from improving players, Bellerin and Iwobi for me, playing with a smile, playing without the mental handbrake where they knew that people were going to be blasting them on social media if they did certain things, playing without that. Obviously, he's changed tactics a lot, but the whole tactical approach and utilising different players' strengths for different games, for me, probably the best thing is, out of everything, is actually is not clean sheets, because we've got to improve, and our away form has improved and our points tally has improved, but we can do better. For me, what's improved is, what I like the most is set pieces, offensive and defensive set pieces, man. I actually have confidence in our ability to mark and defend. So these sort of things. So when you consider, and also top 6, yes, we could have approached this for every game where we got points against the top 6. We could have approached it better, but our approach against the top 6 has been better under Unai Emery. Obviously, we messed ourselves up at Chelsea away, but the approach was there. We beat Chelsea at home. I feel the individual errors let us down at Old Trafford because the tactics were there. We obviously did our thing in the league against them at home, and they did theirs in the FA Cup, which I feel Unai Emery's tactics actually let us down there. But you get the point. Liverpool at home, we played quite well. Liverpool away was terrible again. Players letting him down. And so on and so forth. What we took 4 points off Spurs as well. So it's been there. There's our approach in big games, set pieces, offensive and defensive. Away form has improved. Obviously, it wasn't that hard to improve that away form. Tactics, all of these things are positive. So if we turn around, these are the things I was saying that it was calling for in August, right, people? My logic. I was saying this in August. If we now go in May, we finish 5th, away, excluding where we are in the league right now. If we now go finish 5th in May, from what I was saying in August, people, can I be upset that we never got top 4? And is it necessarily a good or bad season? I'm just trying to make sense of my own logic and sense of it all, because I don't know anyone, but I like to consider the whole story. I think it would actually still be a good season if we didn't get top 4 with all the things I said, but we can't get around it. It would be terrible. as a fan to see our players bottle, considering there's still 24 points on the line, so we can't get ahead of ourselves, and there's only a couple of points between 3rd and 6th, so it might change. We don't beat Newcastle. It's peak for us, people, in the sense that everyone's still going to drop points. I don't think Arsenal are going to take 24 points, people. I would love us to, but I don't think we are. We're going to drop points. We've taken advantage of people dropping points. Other people have taken advantage of us. We've hit form at the best time. So to not get top 4, it would be gutted. Especially when you consider, again, I don't think these are easy games, but let's be honest and cut the crap. If you look at all of the top 6 fixtures, we have the most favourable. No disrespect to Leicester, Wolves, and Newcastle, because I'm expecting you lot all to come and give us games. If we were to have them fixtures where we are in the league, the form we're in, and the feel-good factor, to not get top 4, it would be a chance missed. It would be severe bottling. I can't lie to you lot. You'd have to point fingers of the players. In fact, I wouldn't even point fingers at the players because they're poor. Unai Emery would still be my guy, but you'd have to ask why this actually happened. And to be honest, even if we weren't going to get top 4, excluding these 24 points on the line, what I'm referring to with 24 points is our remaining fixtures. If we go back at previous fixtures, which I keep telling you lot, even in the unbeaten run when we was 22 games or so unbeaten, if we review some of the performances where we got the rub of the green, and we think what would have happened if we did better here or there, or set up differently there, or the players didn't do this there. Do you see what I'm saying, people? So I still think it would be a good season, but when I quantify it like this, it would somewhat be a terrible season. So I guess this is why I'm asking you the question, people, because you can't see it, but I've did the pros and cons, and it would be an opportunity missed, considering, again, I'm not a transfer man. I'll never know how much money this club has, and we signed Aubameyang and Lacazette without Champions League, but the token of Champions League in terms of pulling players into the club, in terms of possible finances you get, these are the sort of things we can't underestimate, man. And the longer Arsenal don't get top 4, I'm not a finance man, but you'd bound to think sooner or later it's gonna show that Arsenal are not getting top 4 anymore in terms of finances somewhere. In fact, you might even, if we continue not to get top 4, people, you might even see Stan Kroenke start appearing at the club and get mad and start asking questions, because you know when it comes to money, that's when he gets involved. But it is what it is, man. I just wanted to ask this question. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I still think it'd be a good season, because everything I'm calling for Unai Emery to introduce, it hasn't been perfect, and how can it be with our first season? But I'm seeing the signs. Do you get what I'm saying, people? But top 4 was the objective, was immediately, really and truly, we need to get back in the top 4. So with the opportunity we have at our hands on this current day in March, if we do sit there in May and say we're not there, considering where we are right now in March, it would be bottling, wouldn't it? So I don't know, to be fair. I still think it'd be a good season, but to be honest, would it? When I mention why it wouldn't. So I'm gonna keep flip-flopping and quantifying this in my mind, but I thought it'd make for some decent content for you lot, if you can see where I'm going with this. But for now, people, I'm out. Deluded.